welcome back to another episode of the Reaction Therapy Podcast. We have got a great show for you. I'm your resident psychotherapist, as usual, Tom Stevens, here with Nick, and we are going to do something a little bit different today for the podcast because we want to bring you more in less, more things, short amount of time. So we're going to rapid fire today, Nick. I'm excited.
Yeah, I was about to interrupt you and say I am not your residential psychotherapist.
No.
I am not. I am the son of your residential resident psychotherapist. Anyway, yeah, today's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to this. This is something new that we're trying out today. Maybe it won't work. Maybe it will be. Well, we'll get to a segment similar to what I just said, but
I think it's going to be fun.
Excited.
We got cool bunch of different things to talk about today.
Yeah. Like Tom said. Well, first of all, how are you doing? I always ask you
Doing
that.
so good. I feel really good with the balance of the way my schedule's been and being able to have some time today to do some reactions, Nick.
Yeah.
To be able to get out. We were able to have lunch together and to be able to do this. I don't feel the pressure today that I feel on other days with so many different things to do. There's a lot to do, but I do feel a little bit less pressure today, especially after a long day. Yesterday, big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty good about it. And on top of that, the weather is incredible.
Oh my gosh. Y'all don't understand. Like, y'all who live up north in the United States have no idea what it's like.
Texas.
Well, you're probably feeling the opposite. You never feel the heat. We are finally feeling the cold.
Every day it's been all the way until yesterday, which was October 17th.
Yeah.
We went, and then you wake up today, Nick comes inside. He's about to go to the gym workout. He's like, man, it's cold out there.
Yeah, I went outside to, I think, get something. I don't remember what I was doing. But I came back inside. I'm like, it's actually cold out there. Like, it's not just like less hot. It is actually cold today.
You know, it's funny too. We went out to lunch to eat today, and there were other people in the restaurant. And in Texas, it's just so different because it's like what?
It's
60,
70, I don't know.
It's like, it's cool. It's a lot cooler. But you go in the restaurant, it's like me. Like, I have this hoodie on.
Yeah. Older
People all have jackets and hoodies. Nick goes in shorts and a t-shirt because we feel that first burst of cool air, and it's like, ooh, boy.
Yeah. What I do whenever cool weather, I told Tom today, I'm ready to play some football and I'm ready to play some golf. Like, those are the two things I think of when I think of cold weather.
Now it's time.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get back on the golf course, but that's a topic for another day, baby.
Rise Up Sports on YouTube. Go follow it.
I wasn't even trying to plug there. It just happened to happen. All right. So today, like Tom said, it's a little different. I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. I'm not really sure. What we're doing today is we are kind of doing a rapid fire, like talking about different topics. And what I know this from is a show called Around the Horn is what I've heard. It's a sports show, obviously. But Around the Horn is where they have multiple people on the show and they talk for a certain amount of time about a certain topic and then they move on. And there's a timer on, and actually on that show they actually have like whoever won the argument gets like a point after this. After like they get 2 minutes to talk about a certain topic, and then they get a point. They get a point for whoever won that argument in that time period.
Who gives the point?
Whoever the judge is,
judge.
I think, or I don't know, host or whatever. But so that's that show.
That's
that's what it reminded me of when Tom brought this idea to me. So we're not gonna award points for, we're not arguing about anything, but we're just talking.
Why not? Let's argue. We do it all the time anyway.
Maybe we can if we have an argument, but we have 5 topics today, and we're gonna have 5 minutes to talk about each one. Okay. So it's a 25-minute little segment.
Love it.
We'll have a Q&A at the end like normal, and that'll do it. So here we go. I made this timer. You'll see it right here. If you're watching,
yes.
If you're listening, just know we have a 5-minute timer. And for y'all listeners, like on Spotify or whatever, I will have a buzzer at the very end.
Oh, I was wondering if you're going to have the buzzer. Cool.
It's going to be the wrong buzzer. If y'all know what that is, like it sounds like this. So I'll just play it. That's what it'll sound like at the end. It's not like we got anything wrong, but it's a buzzer to let us know time's up. So let me start the timer here. We're going to go into topic number 1 in just a second. I kind of
like this idea of having different topics. We only get a certain amount of time. And once, even if we're in the middle of something, we just move on.
Yeah. So the first topic, very controversial right now. Topic 1 is Kanye. So we're going to get into Kanye in 3, 2, 1. Go. Okay. What do you think about Kanye?
Not even just reactions we've done, right? Which Family Business, I think,
Yeah.
was my favorite that I did of his. But, and I actually did a reaction to one of his today that I was a little disturbed by. Just him as a person, like, I would
No.
love to sit down with this guy because he sounds like he's had lots of mental and emotional issues and he's
Yes.
put them out in public. He hasn't hidden from them, I don't think.
Yeah.
But he definitely pushes a lot of buttons.
Yeah. Well, recently he has some not so good stuff in the
what's
news.
recent?
I'm not gonna like get into it because it's political, but it has to do with like just derogatory comments towards different people groups,
Really?
especially the Jewish community.
Wow.
And it's just not good. it's not
So none
good
of that was
for him.
taken out of context. I didn't see it, but was it taken out of context, or was he just on a rant?
It was on Twitter, I think, or on some social media platform where he made a comment. And it was just kind of out of the blue. And I've heard that he has like bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he must have been dealing with something, and he
Yeah.
said it, and everybody's like now in an uproar of it. But I've heard people react to it and say like, kind of like, can you separate what he said from what the music he makes? And that's kind of the question, is like, he says some things that are dumb sometimes and he might not even mean it, but I don't know. It's just, that's the controversial thing going on right
You
now.
have to separate this stuff. Look, we could take any one of these music artists we react to and look inside their lives and the way that they've acted and things that they've done and things that they've said. Come on. Like, if we're going to be fair, you are looking at him as a music artist for what he produces, not so much the entire package. Otherwise, we would throw almost every musical artist that we're reacting to out the window. Like, it's about being fair. And I'm
true.
not honing in on their private life. The problem I have with artists sometimes is they have to know when they're in the spotlight, and they have to know when they're on TV, and they have to know when this is going to get out to other people. But I have a feeling sometimes with people with, we'll say, bipolar, that when he's in a cycle, when he's in an episode, when he's in an up cycle and things are really ramping up for him, he could say things that he's not really going to say when the cycle's not happening and he's more steady.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's almost like people bait him into it probably in interviews of like, talk about this, but I think sometimes he might just walk right into it. And I don't know that he would say that all the time, but right now he said it and it sticks.
Yeah, it's
what do you think about that with artists and their like,
I mean,
the way they've been, the way they've treated women or men or children, or the attitudes they have? Like, we could pick apart anybody.
I know it really, like, I want to just focus on Kanye just because of that is going on, but that is true. Other artists have stuff that they've done, stuff that they've said, that, like, Will Smith is another one that was earlier this year, late last year. It's just stuff that people say and they regret it. And I think the main point to take with that is they're all human, and like, everybody's a human. And you know, people make mistakes. And so it is hard, especially if you have a mental illness or like something that's not quite right with you. Like, that's, I mean, it's not it's not understandable, but it is like, you can, I don't know what the word is.
Well, it is understandable, because if you and I people,
that was the wrong way to say that.
We're going around every day and we were interviewed or on TV, or cameramen were following us, we would have stuff we say or do put out there. So they just happen to be in the spotlight and get caught.
The one thing I will say though is he put it out himself. Like,
that's what I'm saying. The difference is,
he didn't just like accidentally say something. Like, he purposely went to Twitter or wherever he posted it and posted it because he wanted to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where,
which is different than, you know, you look at a Will Smith in the moment, which really saddened me because I looked up to him so much, and he's human. When he starts punching out Chris Rock, slapping him, that's an in the moment. That wasn't a plan. I'm going there tonight and I'm going to do something. It was just, you know, heat of the moment, something happened. You happen to be on TV. But that's why they're held to a whole different standard.
Yeah.
You know, you have to recognize
it's true
what your status is. He is I think he's a controversial figure anyway. And he chose a controversial marriage and a relationship with Kardashian. So he's walked into enough by himself, right?
He's had a lot. He's had a lot in his life. He makes some good music though. I like some of his music.
He's complex. I can't understand all of the purpose behind his music. Some of it feels old school. Some of it feels new school.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan of all of his stuff either.
but I can't make sense of all of it. So I try my best to listen, and some of it I like a lot, but then sometimes it is just more than I can take, which is why I lean on people.
Yeah.
I know
Very
Nick
good.
loves this buzzer
So cool.
to be able to say, let's stop and let's move on.
All right. Yeah. So next topic, done with Kanye. Next topic
more Kanye.
is the interviews we've done.
Oh,
Different interviews we've done. So we get to talk about that. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
yes, we've had some great guests, not just musical artists, but people outside of music as well. Weather with Lauren was one that stood out to me a ton just because she was so courageous, I thought, to talk about her mental health struggles with anxiety and stress in her life, as well as being a meteorologist on TV and having to adjust to that. And therapy being so normal, taking people to therapy with her. But artists have done it too, right? Updog we had recently, or is just coming out now. He's talked about mental health struggles, and same with Abstract. Like, I feel like a lot of artists talk openly about mental health.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. And I think the artists that we especially interview are interested in that type. Even you can go to Dax when you interviewed Dax too.
Wow.
He had a lot to say about that too. And I think when, especially people that we have, or you for Dax, but us for other people have interviewed, I think they have an interest in mental health. I don't think anybody is going to come on this show because they know what our mission is if they've watched us, and they know that we're mental health oriented. And so I think that is a big thing for a lot of people. They want to talk about. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of artists, but also like Lauren, they want to talk about the mental health. Sophie Pecor is another one.
Yeah, Sophie
that
Pecor
loves mental health.
It's been one of my favorite people to talk to is Sophie, because she's so honest, so sweet and kind, like in wanting the world to just be a great place, and has talked about how hard it is with the self-inflicted pressure. A lot of them talk about that. Perfectionism and trying to get things just right and looking at and being judged at by other people. That Dax, you see this confident figures performing, but then you look at them, you talk behind the scenes, and each one of these, or most of these artists, have talked to us outside of the interviews and asked about kind of the mental health side, or how we done this channel, or the purpose behind it. Because of what I do, it brings a whole new element. So I think they're kind of curious about that. And it's interesting how they've asked, about what we do and why we do it and how it started. And
one thing for that was Updog. When we interviewed him after we stopped recording, he talked to us probably for 20 or 25 more minutes. He wanted to know about like everything we do. And I think that's so cool that people are interested in that mental health side, because I think, like I said, I think a lot of people like to talk about themselves, but also about mental health, because it's such a big issue right now.
And the part I feel proud about is because it's my passion. It's what I do every day. I've done it for such a long time, being in the mental health field, and I feel confident in it. And so I love being able to bring in, it's like I can't sit here and talk about music and cadence and bars and all these things that happen in music, right? I don't try to, but I can talk about mental health, and I think they actually like that. And so being able to talk to somebody, hear Sophie Pecora, hear Dax, and other people, and even Marshmello recently, who put a little comment on one of his videos that we reacted to. It's really cool to see that Dax, all of them will watch the reactions we do, because we put a lot of work into this, but we honestly don't know that people or the artists even really see it.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is like, and we've talked on some interviews we've had, it's like people don't, I remember some art, I don't remember which person it was, but somebody mentioned how it's like, I don't even realize that people actually watch my stuff. Like, I just kind of do it, and I don't really think about the people that are actually watching it. That's an interesting point for it right there.
I know. So the interviews have been fun. We want to do more. I want to do more. There's a lot of people I would like to talk to that, we haven't gotten to or aren't able to get to, but hopefully in the future, it leads from one to the other, and even to react or talk to other reactors.
I'm so
because I think it would be fun to hear. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, because we're busy doing what we do. The artists are busy trying to create music and perform, and it's just neat outside of the reactions to come together and talk to some of these people, because they're really cool people.
They really are.
Regular people.
I'm looking forward to that too. Just like we talked about with Kanye. I mean, I think the title of this podcast should be Regular People, because everybody's just a normal person.
When they get outside of what their professional realm is and having to put that persona on, it's really something.
It is. Okay. Topic number 2 is done. Ready for the third one?
Man, moving on. We didn't get to talk about everything.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the point of this.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Topic number 3 is the Suicide Boys.
Oh, yes, sir.
So let's go in 3, 2, 1.
We don't have enough time for the Suicide Boys.
I know.
There's so much. Been to their concert. We've reacted to a ton of their music. We have not been able to get the reactions we've done over to them, Nick. I want them to see it. I want to know what they think. Even if it's terrible, the fact that they would comment, even if it's negative, would make me happy. Just because they would have seen it.
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder about that. And I know this for the Suicide Boys, but I wonder, like, some artists, if they do, like, see our stuff.
I do wonder. I know they do. I know they do at some point. Not all of them, but I'm sure some of them do and some watch. But I think some of the bigger ones are so busy touring, recording, or being with their family that they don't have time to do that. But
even some of the people we've interviewed have said, like, yeah, my label sent this to me or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, that's possible. But yeah, Suicide Boys, they have so many interesting titles to their songs.
What do you say? What's your favorite?
My
I'm going to put
favorite
Nick
song?
on the spot.
Probably like either Paris or Suicide Boys were better in 2015, or two of my favorites, just because of the beat.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have good beats in every single one of their songs.
They really do. And especially the newer music that everybody says they're cleaner, like they have gone into recovery and their I mean, I hear it all, but I don't know all the old music, so I really don't know how to compare that to.
They're a group that you don't even understand everything they're saying. At least unless you're really looking at the lyrics for it. Like some of their songs, I'm like, I don't know what they're saying, but I just like the beat, and that's why I listen to them. Yeah,
between the titles of their songs, which tend to have nothing to do with the songs and the videos that go with them sometimes, that are these old vintage movies.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
It is bizarre.
I'll tell you, from what everybody says, in the concert we went to, we didn't stay till the very end, probably for safety reasons. But they say that Scrim and Ruby give a talk at the end of every concert about mental health and about getting help and about how it's helped them. And I believe in that. Like, they seem like pretty cool guys. And I was impressed in the concert with their performance ability. They're all over the stage. They're interacting back and forth. They weren't up there just rapping.
Yeah, they have a lot of humor too. During their show, they were funny. A lot of times they were like, one time, I don't know the difference. I don't know who Ruby or Scrim is. I don't remember which guy is which. One of them went off to the side, like he was like smoking something, and then the other one went over, like, "What are you doing, man?"
I think that was Scrim off to the side and Ruby down, kneeling down. Yeah, I do remember that.
It's funny, but yeah,
it's typically Scrim to start a song and Ruby to finish that I've seen. Although this last one I did, it seemed like it was opposite, and people kind of laughed at me because I couldn't tell. Yeah, usually I can tell. Scrim seems like a higher voice, higher pitch. Yeah. Ruby seems a little bit deeper, but I may be off on that.
I have no idea. They're quite.
Would you go back to another concert of theirs?
I've had people ask me this. Probably not.
Yeah,
just because like it's not my thing. Mostly due to the like just pack how like I'm not good in like I'm not claustrophobic, but like also it's very tight.
All the smoke.
I felt like there's a lot of smoke and a lot of smells that I wasn't a fan of. That's the main reason. If it was like a cleaner environment, then I might go back, but it's not because of them.
Yeah, I would totally go back. But it is true, going to the 21 Pilots concert compared to the Suicide Boys, you feel the difference in the arenas and the spacing of it and feeling a little bit more comfortable. Yeah.
Totally true.
But shoot, they've had so many, like, this is the group, I've said it, I would not have listened to a year ago.
Oh, no way.
Nick would have said, here, check out Suicide Boys. I would have said, no, I don't want to listen to anything with the name suicide in it.
Yeah.
It's not of interest to me. Those are guys who are promoting suicide and blah, blah, blah. So those are the ones that I've been most humble towards and most apologetic towards of judging. And I get that. Like, that's just me realizing, hey, same with Juice WRLD. I didn't know who he was. But when you look at the Suicide Boys, like, I think their message is slightly different now.
Yeah.
Than it was before, but I also think they're more relatable now. like having gotten some recovery and been able to change their life, that they're in a different place.
That is a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing to see artists like change. And I didn't even know the fact that they talk about mental health at the end of their concert either. Like that. That's a really cool thing.
They do talk about, because somebody sent it, I've had people send me the video about where they used to be and, you know, ready to die or not caring anymore, and that they got help. And without the help, they wouldn't be better. And so everybody out there who needs help, you need to get help because the help matters. And when you get help, your life can be different. And right now you think you can't get help, or you can't get, life can't get better, but it really can get better. Like that's the biggest key to that. I try to tell people, and I think that's what they say. So that's why I love them.
Cool. All right, going right into topic number 4. This is tiring, actually, a little bit, because I have to keep going. This is topic number 4. I'm not going to read what I wrote on my sheet because that's not what it is. We're talking about our biggest successes and biggest failures so far with reaction
man.
In 5 minutes. So 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. In the last 10 months, just been 10 months, we've been around, and our biggest successes and failures. Well, do you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
So I will take one of each. I think one of our biggest successes has been being able to focus on mental health. I think not just coming in and like reacting to music and saying I'm a therapist and reacting, but really trying to say, hey, we're not here to like break down music and how good the music is. Yeah. We're here to talk about the meaning behind the music and what the artist might have meant. And really, and we didn't say that in the beginning.
No, we did.
But as time went on, we realized this needs to be a mental health platform.
Yeah.
And bringing mental health awareness to the world platform. And so as we've done that, I think that was a huge success because it's what we wanted, but we started this as a joke. Not to make fun of anything, but as a joke, like, hey, it's Christmas time, we're off. Let's have fun because you like music, I like music. You can do the things with the video, and I can sit and talk about music that I've never heard before.
Thanks for the video.
You know, really, like we just kind of winged it. That's why you look at the old ones and it's so bad. But I think that was a huge success. The failure, one of the failure pieces, I think has been, it's been kind of the debacle piece of Juice WRLD on Patreon that blew up, but we can talk about that. You go ahead and do yours.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one of mine too. But I would say another success has been kind of just the YouTube memberships have been massive for everybody who has been able to get a membership, and the transition we made to more live streams and scheduled live streams.
That's another success. Good job.
I don't feel like, I think those kind of go together in a way. Because on the live streams and the gifted, being able to have gifted memberships, having us be generous to start off, and then having other people,
everybody's been
as well.
Generous.
Like it's just been really cool to see, and that kind of goes together with memberships. But just to have that, because when Patreon kind of went the way it did, and Patreon's still great. We post a lot on Patreon still, and it's still a great thing. Yeah. For people to use, but for the membership part, it's just to have that extra content, but also just the closeness that we've built with like the members only live streams have been huge with all the people coming together and talking to each other. People have grown so close. So that to me, with the live streams, a pivot to the live streams have been really huge, I think, for just structure, and people now know what this channel is about. That's my biggest success. A failure, like you mentioned Patreon, and that is one. I wouldn't say the Google form that we did was a failure. Like even though we stopped doing it, I don't think it was a failure because I think it worked.
Instead of using the word failure, we could just say, things that didn't work out.
Yeah, or flop. I don't know.
Not even flop. Like we've tried to do everything. Look, we're very intentional, right? So we plan weeks and months ahead of time. Yeah. To think of what can we roll out next. And you can tell we always evolve and try to change and adapt, but instead of doing the same thing. The membership thing we were very intentional about because we wanted to offer more content to people who wanted it. If you don't want more content, that was great. But if people wanted more content, we wanted to offer that. And I think part of the request thing in the beginning, which we wanted to meet people's requests, but we realized that's impossible. We need to find another way to do it. And so the Google form was not effective long-term. It was effective in the short term. And so it wouldn't be possible at this point as you grow. But I think also one of the successes is just the growth of the channel. And the reason our part in doing that was the consistency of content. I think everybody who's really praised us has said, y'all are so consistent with how you put things out. And that's kudos to you.
Yeah. Well, both of us.
Honestly, because
you need to record the videos.
You've kept the schedule though, and you've made sure the variety of music, and you've made sure the scheduling gets recorded in time so things get released when one of us is sick or we're out of town. Other reaction channels, many times when they leave or they go out of town or they're sick, they stop. There's no reactions coming out. We stay ahead enough that we can do that.
And I'm happy enough to say that we have a big enough vault of reactions that we haven't published to where we could have, if, like, for example, if Tom was sick or something and couldn't record, we would have enough. Also, one more before this topic ends, one more success I think has been the mystery week we've done twice. I think that's really been cool. I think people look forward to like different things like that, but mystery week for sure.
Yeah. And I think also one of the kind of flop, so to speak, type things is in us figuring out tiers on. Yeah. It is a challenge to figure out what meets the needs of people with what we give. And that's been a little bit hard. So there's been some tiers we've had to kind of get rid of or that didn't work. I thought it'd be great to have a 21 Pilots tier, but that really didn't work. So we had to meld that into the Juice WRLD tier. So we have adapted. We haven't just kept it the same, but some of the tiers, it's been a learning process there.
Yeah, we've had to change tiers a lot.
I mean, originally we thought that Juice WRLD, it was going to be great on Patreon and we'd be able to release content on Patreon like everybody's done for years. And it would have been a huge tier, right? It would have been hundreds of people on that tier.
It was growing fast
until the label came in and cut it down.
And that was like what? Not even a month after we started it.
Yeah.
And like we had double the amount of patrons we do now back then.
Yeah.
Because of that. And so that was one thing. All right. Last topic is going to be our predictions for 2023. I'm not talking about the rest of this year, but I'm talking about what we think let's just say by the end of 2023, where we want to be, what we want to look like.
Predictions
for
the end of this year, not even next year, right?
The end of 2023, the end of next year, not the end of this year.
Oh, the end of next year.
The end of next year.
Okay.
Like we're looking ahead, like a year out plus what we're looking at. So 3, 2, 1, boom.
Man, he goes quick with that 3, 2, 1, doesn't he? Predictions. Yeah. Well, I always look for growth. So it doesn't mean it has to be huge growth, but just steady growth and climbing in terms of subscribers, in terms of the members that we have on YouTube and Patreon, and being able to kind of expand what we're doing. My thing would be continue the content the way we've got it, expand the podcast and potentially other things that we react to or look at on top of music to do it on a different channel, and to just be open to more opportunities. One of my biggest goals of 23 is to have partnerships in place, so that we always talk about balance keeps me stable, right? Healthy living, therapy, exercise, good rest, good eating, that we have partners that are specific to that are able to sponsor the program and allow us to do more, to give away more to mental health causes. Anyway, that's all mine. That's a lot.
Yeah, I think partnerships.
Why'd you laugh?
Well, just because you ended so quickly.
Because I realized I was over talking. Yeah,
no,
I went a minute and 10 seconds.
Okay, you're fine. I probably won't go that long, but we'll see. Partnerships for me is a big one too. Like I think that has been both of our biggest thing, because we want to be able to keep providing content, and partnerships, having those partnerships would guarantee us to continue making content. And so that's our biggest thing.
They give more security. And so if you have security in a place of a known source of income, and they get the trade-off of being able to have their product or their service out there into the world. So it's a great I say partnership because it's them getting their needs met in terms of people that can be drawn to their business, and us being able to have support financially, so that we're doing it on the best we can right now, with Nick trying to do all the editing, Emily doing all the thumbnails. I'm trying to do, the reactions that come in, but there's a lot we could do that we can't do right now. There's a lot of equipment we could have that we haven't gotten. And there's a lot of projects I think we want to do. one of the biggest causes for me is giving back to
Dang
mental
it,
health.
you stole mine. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. Talk about it.
Well, that is your biggest thing. Like I definitely want to do it too, but you have mentioned it a lot more than I have. But what you were going to say is giving back to the community, giving back to charities, being able to help out mental health causes. Like if y'all have a charity that you think would be a good place to give to, we want to be able to give to that charity without, sacrificing, our like being able to do this. We want to be able to comfortably be able to give and not, so that's the biggest thing in terms of that. I also think for 2023 to be able to start interviewing some like major artists. Like I think
That would be awesome.
getting like, it's been great talking to some smaller artists. Like I think it's been really cool because I think you get to
artist
really
period. It's been
you
really
get to
cool.
really see like people's lives, but
Yeah.
also getting to some of the big names in the industry would be really cool also.
Yeah.
So yes, that's mine.
You know what I think is interesting in today's world, and this is a little off topic, but so many people can be an artist today. I look at people the equipment you can buy for hardly anything, even an iPhone, and you can record videos, audio, all your music just so simply now that so many people can be artists that never could have before because you sit there and try to record into something. It doesn't sound good. The mixture capability is so great, but I think expansion is our biggest thing in terms of who we reach, the audience we reach, but also the artists that we reach, and being able to be invested in different causes. Because to me, it's about trying to give back. And part of what we get in, I've always been a big tithing person with church for me. So in my practice, 10% of my clientele doesn't pay anything. So it's not always that people can't afford it really. It's that I want to be able to give that service to them. And so if I see 20 people in a week, then 2 people are going to be free. And then so when I take them on, they know that and they can stay with me as long as they want to and not have to pay until they've finished their treatment. I believe in that. I've done it for 27 years. I still do it today. And so I keep very close track. Some weeks I have 6 people that don't pay anything. Some weeks I have 1 person that doesn't pay anything, but it evens out to that 10%. So I believe we should be able to give back.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to bring in partnerships to help that cause. I also want, Nick, 2023 for you and me to go to different cities across this country
so cool.
and visit people. That's a huge goal of mine that I don't talk about a bunch, but it would allow us to fly to a different city.
I gotta get this in before the timer runs out so I can finish my statement. I just had to get it in because I didn't want to start afterwards. I didn't want to start after the timer went off because that's cheating. So, but since I started my statement before the timer ran off, I can finish it.
Go for it.
One last thing I want is to move into a studio, like to have an actual studio that we're in instead of a room in our house.
Be nice.
That would be my only thing. You can finish what you were going to say.
I've forgotten.
Okay. Sorry. I just saw the timer going down and I'm like, I need to get this off.
Panic mode. Thought I was in trouble.
No, you're never in trouble.
We would do everything?
Yeah, that's
wow,
all
that
5.
was amazing. There's more we could do.
Yeah, we'll go over to Patreon or become a YouTube member if you want to see a couple more. We're going to do a couple more.
Going to have
on our
extra segments over there. If you want to join, go join YouTube membership or Patreon to subscribe. I'm telling you, on Patreon, the lowest tier is $4 a month. On YouTube, the lowest tier is $5. And think about this on Patreon. I try to tell people this. If you sign up for a year, you get 15% off, which means it is basically $40 for an entire year of a subscription to Patreon, which gives you all the bonus content. It gives you these shows a week early and an opportunity to be able to have requests taken whenever your tier is up for the Saturday reaction. So, gosh, for $40 for an entire year, Nick, of a subscription. And we've had people who have signed up on the $20 tier for an entire year, I believe, and the $10 tier. So to be able to lock it in and know, wow, I'm getting this bonus and I'm going to get this content all year is pretty cool.
Very cool. Cool. Well, that was kind of our rapid fire around the horn is what I call it. But if y'all want to see that again, we can definitely do that again on a future podcast too.
There's so many different segments we could do.
We could. So now for the remainder of our time, got a couple of Q&A questions I asked the community tab this morning. So I'm going to ask that, and then you'll have your classic inspiration of the day. It's not a quote.
like a failure.
It's inspiration. Is that it? You feel, don't feel like a failure. I don't know. Let's get into these questions first. I got 2 of them today. Only 2.
Okay. That's cool.
First question is, did you think you would ever get this big?
No, I mean, we never thought this would happen, period. I mean, go back 10 months, right? We thought this is really neat and this is fun. And, neither one of us had more than 20 likes on anything in our life. And so we never thought it would be, I never thought it would be at this point. My whole goal in the beginning when we started rocking and rolling was, wouldn't it be great to get, this plaque over here, this button plaque, for 100K? Like, it seems impossible, the percentage of people that actually get there. And then to being able to double that is incredible. So I never thought it would get this much attention or it would catch on like it has and stay caught on. No, I never thought that.
Yeah, man, I still, even though we have the subscribers, I still feel like we're not that big. Like I'm not, that's not a bragging. I'm actually not trying to brag at all there. Like I feel like a regular person still.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I'm a celebrity. I don't feel like you're a celebrity. I feel like we're just normal people.
Yeah, we still go about our life.
To spread our message. Like I
go to work. I see my people at work, and we go to family functions, and we go to the restaurants.
Like
and we really are regular people. I don't know if it would be any different down the road. Maybe if you had like 1 million subscribers,
you would think people would see you more.
People would know. Yeah. Like that's a more well-known. Like 1 million's almost impossible. Like that percentage is so minute, I'm sure, in the scheme of YouTube. But I think maybe if it was at that point or we had been around maybe like 5 years. Like I think longevity has something to do with it. When you stay around long enough, people get to see
crazy because we haven't even been around a year yet.
Not even a year.
That's what's crazy. Cool. Okay. Last and second and last question. How important is measuring your own growth?
Measuring your own growth, super important. Like, I'm a treatment plan guy. So, and I don't live my life like by a consummate schedule. Nick's way more scheduled and routine than I am. But you have to know where you're at.
You don't know.
Yeah. You got to know what you don't know. That is super critical, by the way, for your skills. Nick's heard that from me lots of times. If you know what you don't know, you stay away from it. Like, I don't know that. Like when it comes to music and cadence and all that, I just don't go there. But if you know where you're at now and you measure, am I happy with where my life's at now or not? And you look at where you've been in the past, because the past life you've lived got you to where you are now, whether it's what happened to you or what you chose. And you look at, I want to be here. Like Nick said, 2023, what are our goals? Because we talk about that a lot. 6 months from now, a year from now, where do I want to be? You have to be able to take where you're at now and say, what's it going to take to get to that point? And many times people can't do that on their own. They need help. That's where the support and guidance comes in. But it is super important to have kind of that daily reflection, weekly reflection on that. It's like stepping on a scale. You don't want to sit there and go up and down emotionally by it every day when you step on the scale. You just want to use it as a measurement. But if you have no idea where you want to go, like Christmas time, when we all put sweats on and we just kind of eat what's comfortable and what tastes good, by the time January comes around, we're like, oh, I'm putting regular clothes on again and it doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel good, yeah.
But it's because we never measured, what are we taking in? So we try to do that all the time with, are we taking enough time personally?
Yeah.
Are we working too much on this? Nick's talked about having to just put work down and wait till tomorrow. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, measuring is like the most important thing, honestly, like, especially now that I'm getting more into weightlifting. I've realized how important it is to really measure, because like I haven't really measured for that. And like, I don't know how much bigger I've gotten with like how much bigger my muscles have gotten. And so it's hard to know when you don't know how much you've grown. It's hard to measure. Like it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like you have to measure your growth to know where you've come from.
Yeah.
And especially in life, like if you're trying to be a better person, if you're trying to be a better friend, it's hard without like, some things are hard to measure. And like I took not a whole class, but a segment of one of my classes in college was about goal setting. and like what is a goal and how to make it measurable. And
Mhm.
I think the most important thing is to figure out how you can measure a goal,
Yeah.
because you can't just measure it by what it looks like. You kind of have to have certain criteria to how you can actually measure a goal so you can track it.
Well, a
But
lot of people measure ineffectively. Like, to be very fair, you're not going to know whether it's a realistic goal or not.
that's another thing.
So getting help and support, and that can be with friends or support groups, that can be with a mentor, that can be with a therapist, that can be with a pastor, that can be with anybody you trust. But a lot of times we like try to measure things like I should be able to. Weight loss is a classic one, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to set it to try to lose 2 pounds a week. That's almost impossible.
Hard.
Like, really, you got to be realistic with what you can do, whether it's finances, whether it's, a reaction channel,
Yeah.
right? When you try to start a reaction channel, ours is an anomaly. It doesn't happen the way that it's happened for us, right? Even really good reaction channels can take years to get to 100,000 subscribers, good ones. So it's part of it's luck, part of it's timing, part of it's having the right niche of what we do. But I think
Yeah.
measuring's critical.
Yeah, it's like if you say, "Yeah, I'm gonna make $1 million this year." It's like that's not
Yeah.
really a realistic thing. Like you have to, and I feel like also setting smaller goals to eventually achieve bigger ones is big.
Yeah.
Like one of the assignments I had to do in class is a little sneak peek into what I did in college. I was in a coaching class for like sports, and it was you have an athlete and you have to have certain goals for this person by the end of the year or whatever, and you had to have like a main goal to get to, but also mini goals to help you achieve that main goal. And for the mini goals, how are you going to practice to get to that mini goal? And then how are those mini goals helping you get to the main goal? Like it's all of that. There's a lot that comes with it. Like if you want to make $1 million a year, okay, what are the ways you're going to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Or even like if you want to make just 10% more than you made last year, how are you going to do that? What are you going to invest? Like what are you going to not spend? Like it's all different things like that. And that's not a finance lesson or anything. I did take a lot of finance in college, but that's not anyway.
Kind of cool, in investing. They say like if you're in your 20s and you save $400 a month,
Yeah.
by the time you're 60, you'll be a millionaire. And I think it's amazing how simple saving or simple planning, and it's almost like calories, right? With losing weight. If what is a pound? 3,500 calories or something.
36.
So it's like 500 calories a day. If you have all your regular food minus 500 calories for each day, you will lose a pound each week. Like that's the net of it. So planning, measuring, if you're going to go to a wedding this weekend, you're going to have cake and you're going to have a meal, then maybe the rest of the week you watch out for. So it takes a lot of planning. I think it's critical.
Very cool. Anyway,
Good
that was
question.
long question, but yeah.
Man, you were all going off, Nick.
Sorry, I was just trying to give my wisdom.
Finance lesson.
Y'all don't ever get to hear my wisdom, so trying to give something.
Today's the day.
Yeah. Okay. What's your inspiration of the day? Hold on. I didn't do any like transitions for the Q&A or anything, but I'll do it for this one.
I don't know what the inspiration. Never give up. Honestly, I'll piggyback what we just talked about. Really, goals are critical. So, and carrying through from what we just said, set goals, like write them down, like have them in your phone, have them on paper, goals that are like, and I'm a big believer in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So in 3 months, where do you want your life to be now that it's not now? Whether it's a financial, a physical, a spiritual, an emotional, a relational goal, whatever area it is, you don't have to do a ton of them, but find something that it's like, in 3 months, I want to be able to have this much less debt that I owe, or I want to be able to not be, eating dessert at night before I go to bed. I remember this one guy who was a friend of ours. I never talked to him anymore, but it was a friend of my wife's, but he came to this gathering and he looked so much thinner. I'm like, you've lost so much weight. And I said, what did you do? And he looked great. He said, I stopped eating a bowl of ice cream every night before bed. He said, my favorite thing is ice cream. And he said, so every night before bed, I would eat ice cream. And he wasn't fat or anything before, but he was noticeably in shape and thinner. And he said, so I just decided I'm not going to eat that bowl. The rest of my life stayed the same. I'm just not going to eat that bowl of ice cream every night. And totally changed him. So I think having goals is key. And so write down 3, 6, 12 months. What is one thing you want different in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? And then keep that and ask yourself, what do I need to do to make that happen? Because if you say I want to save $1 million, it's impossible. If you say I want to save $100, what does that look like in 3 months? Well, that's $33 each month. So what does that look like? Almost $1 a day. So what if I consciously just take $1 and put it in a jar every single day? It could take something literally like that. So set a goal, and what do you need to do to get it?
Boom.
There you go.
There you go. All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Like we said earlier, if you want to see the extra episode where we talk about, I think there's going to be 2 more topics that we're going to do for 5 minutes.
Go get it.
Go make sure you sign up. All you need is the bottom level of YouTube members or Patreon. Definitely look at the other tiers though, because there's a lot of stuff out there.
Thank you so much for being a part of Reaction Therapy, for listening, supporting, encouraging, commenting, watching. It has been a blast. It continues to be a blast. We have fun.
Yeah.
I actually do like listening to this podcast more than watching.
It is good. I agree. Well, I don't know if I agree, but I definitely think that is true. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Reaction Therapy podcast.